It's really important that we continue to create opportunities for us to witness our grandeur, our divinity, our deep beauty, and our interconnectedness to one another. You know, sometimes I think folks feel alone. At the end of the day, I'm by myself. It's actually not true. That we are indeed interconnected and need one another to remember nobody gets free alone. Hey. Hi.
My name is Christopher Birch. I am a maker, and I am also the inaugural muralist in residence with Artist is First Responder. The projects around the installation is entitled Places to Space, a play on Sun Ra, who is a major influence.
Yeah, so we met at a gallery opening in Oakland, and yeah, I had seen your fantastically beautiful mural, and it was so different than the other murals around the city. You know, there's some beautiful murals in San Francisco, but there aren't a lot of striking, blazing, blatant blackness murals, and the way it sits above, you know, kind of like looking over us with, you know, such elegance. And then when you came to bring me the print, I had just had this experience the day before of being policed. I was hand dyeing some beautiful paper out on the corner. When we were done, I poured the rest of the indigo into the gutter, which I knew was totally acceptable thing to do. Come over because someone in the neighborhood made a complaint. Talking about, we got a report of illegal dumping. What are you doing here? And what is this place? Those were the questions. Beautiful blue corner of natural indigo dye going into the sewer is seen as illegal dumping. So someone in the neighborhood, we're in the dog catch neighborhood, complained and took a video of me. This neighborhood is now not accustomed to seeing black people. Well, you know, here's the thing. No one stopped me. No one said, hey, I live here. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you pouring down the gutter? So to just get this knock, knock on the door, like I said, popo at the door, was shocking. And then not, unfortunately, shocking, because this was one of a series of incidents of being policed as a black artist on this corner, in this space, in this neighborhood. It's like, I'm going to respond. Here's the situation. Here's the reality. Here's what happened. Mm-hmm. And what's the response? The response is beauty. You know, the response is illumination. Up an opportunity for the space program to I think to look at themselves and go, you know, I guess we really haven't told people, you know, who we are and why we're here and what we're doing and the offering and the generosity that's been offered by this artist residency to folks in community. When we started talking about like what kind of imagery or what, you know, is it something that you've already done? Is it something you're like new, something you haven't created yet? You know, the really the one part for me that was important was that it be a black face.
Yeah, it looks way different in here.
Right, but then you get a breakdown of the artwork.
That it be a black person,
Yeah.
a black
So the
body,
breakdown your
a black body that can really be the beacon for what has been and what is present, you know, at this crossroad right here.
Yeah.
And so I'm enjoying the process. I'm enjoying watching you and like learning about what happens on day 1, day 2, day 3.
And we wanted to create an experience that was impactful, undeniable, presencing, and powerful.
how do you get kind of like the nuance of the universe and the stars on this mural? And it's not even a flat surface. What is blackness? What is intentionality of materiality, and your mixing of blackness? That's what's going on in that mural, I think. You're mixing these colors to get to black. It was like, okay, corrugated steel, which means hot as hell and cold as hell, first of all. So you got oil, acrylic mixed.
Oil enamel paint. Oil enamel paint. I love it. I'm an oil painter in my studio. But there's something about oil enamel, the richest color. And going back to the image and this idea of black presence, right? The softness of the colors, the softness of the tones is something in the gentleness and the transitions of the universe itself. It's really pleasurable to me to create, I think, and it reminds me of those moments when, like you were saying, just looking up at the stars. Public sphere is something different than my studio work, right? Because this is something that is, I didn't want to leave a lot for interpretation, right? You had to confront these images, these ideas.
It's confronting.
You know, there's many different ways of approaching things, but for me, I want these to be confrontations. They're not confrontations from the standpoint of I'm going to inflict an aspect of violence upon. It's taken from this notion of care, love, and intention to the point that you have to deal with this image in this space. There's no way you.
It's just undeniable.
But then also undeniably nature-based.
Why do we gotta see black people in space? We're already here. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been here. This Earth is in space. Yeah, the Earth is in space, bro. Like don't forget, we are a rock circling a burning star.
It's space. It's everything that exists within us as humanity. I'm looking at like what humanity, right? But then also at the same time, it's undeniable. You cannot deny the humanity embedded, right? Because you deny the cosmos, you deny yourself.
Pictures of black people as the embodiment of the cosmos. It's not so much as me projecting that black people will be in space. No, it's like I'm saying that we are space. Literally. Yeah. Right? Everything that exists in the cosmos exists in us. And that's just natural fact, right?
All those zincs and you know, irons and water, H2O, that's us. That's us. And that all comes from, so why not show that? Why not why not show people that look like me how grand and beautiful they are too? Going back to nature, the older I get, and the more that I rely on the teachings of my family and those that transitioned into ancestors, the more and more I value their lessons around the elemental relationships we have to the world around us. I remember peaceful moments being surrounded by nature growing up, and how odd it was to be surrounded by nature at the same time. How off-putting it was for my environment. My grandfather called me and my brothers and cousins, you know, y'all city boys. You know, y'all don't know any, and he taught us appreciation of nature. He would force us to go into the woods. He lived in rural Ohio and taught us a lot about these things. And those are some of the most beautiful moments and connecting moments that I really like fall back on. And I'm so grateful that he took the time to show us these things, like this universal truth, this appreciation of something that's greater than you, but it is also a part of you, you know? I had a friend, Jason Rockles, he was schizophrenic. He passed some years ago, but he would say whenever he had an episode, he would put his hands in the earth.
To ground.
To ground.
To ground.
Yes.
Because the earth is the witness.
Yes.
So like touch the earth.
And it would ground.
This is my witness.
And he said he would garden in those moments, and it brought him back. There's a lot of lessons and a lot of healing just in being and going back to where we all come from. You know.
Here's our environment.
Yeah. And we're all gonna be a part of the soil or something. Like everything we are is already here. We don't, you know, everything that we need is already here. We just have to allow it to be there with us, I think.
So these opportunities for us to witness ourselves, change over, go within, burst out. I think your work represents that. The other aspect about it for me is that it feels like an altar. You know, it's like, here's this opportunity for us to like remember ourselves and gaze upon, find the reflection in, lay some flowers down, pour a little bit out, you know, whatever. It feels like an opportunity for us to just remember the divinity.
Space.
The space.
The space. Because there's so much that's happened on that intersection.
That's what
that we will never know.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
that's why it's like this place.
Yeah.
This place is the space, because it's like, in this place we be holy.
Yes.
In this place, at this intersection, we are still whole.
Which you can turn any space with that intention into a space of memory.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that and I take that approach with public art. And that's also too why I felt really compelled to work with artists as first responder, because a lot of the core values I felt really connected to. The purpose for art, how art can be used.
There's another piece of yours that I love, of a figure reclining in the grass. I love the idea of rest. It's like not the grind, not the scratching and clawing. I'm so tired of the hustle. I just want to lie down on the grass like I did when I was a kid and look up at the sky and the stars and the sunshine on your face.
My identity was based on how much I can produce.
The history of African people on this continent is about production and your value and your worth being dictated based on how much you can produce, how long you can work. Many years to like uncouple myself from the grind, for me to give myself permission to relax. So to be in that space of ease and pleasure and rest, it's important for us to create and show those kinds of images.
Yeah, the image of the universe relaxing on the seventh day. Yeah, on the seventh day, the universe relaxed. Because I was just like, that must have been a lot of work.
We're gonna cross the street so you can actually see it from the other side of the street. And we'll meet you there in just a few minutes.
Tell you my problems, meditating my silence.
Chris, I'm sure a lot of folks know who you are, but maybe if you could first introduce yourself and your work, and we'll go from there.
Okay. My name is Christopher Birch. I'm a maker from St. Louis, Missouri originally. I started doing murals maybe about 10 to 12 years ago as a means of just creating, because I like large-scale works, but oftentimes I found myself in spaces that couldn't accommodate large-scale work. So murals for me were a way to kind of satiate that. Murals can speak in the public space and they can create deep meaning. It's funny enough, I kind of view the city as a gallery. I view a lot, you know, I'll look at cracks in the sidewalk. I'll look at tags on the side of buildings. I'll look at how the city is always morphing and always changing, and how
it does inform our realities and what we encounter in the city and how we move through it, how it changes, how it stays the same, affects us and changes our reality. I do think that the public sphere is a great place to place these images, and these images are constructed to hold space in the public sphere. I use materials that will last a long time, so it'll continue to stay on the wall, right? And so I look at like old sign paintings on old buildings, and you see these ghost images, and you see like these things where it's like, oh damn, this was a butcher shop 50 years ago. Oh, that's amazing. Like you see the history of the city and your place, and I think that has a profound effect on us as human beings. I'm in a place that has history, and I think that's important, because if everything is too new, where's our roots, right? If everything looks the same, there's no real sense of age, and there's no real sense of like kind of like that poetry that happens when things decay and things get built around it and incorporated it into. And I think that it's a reflection of my own sense of humanity. The materials I use are like, if this is going to be painted over, like it'll be here for 100 years, and it'll just be another kind of piece of texture in the landscape of the city. So now I feel like I can create place in a different way. Like I can now impact the landscape of what I feel like is my second home, is the Bay Area.
So there's some opportunity for conversation around whose this has been and whose place this is going to be.